The notification arrives at 12:01 a.m. on the 1st of the month. Balance $4,180. Expires in 30 days. Not a promotion, not a warning. A timer attached to every dollar you own. The rules are 3 lines long. Money is issued on the 1st. Money dies on the 31st. Nothing carries over. No savings accounts. No cash under a mattress. No quiet transfer into next month. The expiry date is written into the currency itself, and at midnight the balance goes to 0 whether you spent it or not. Your paycheck still arrives. Your rent is still due. The only thing that changed is that money can no longer wait. By 7:00 a.m. you understand what that means for you. By the end of the year, everyone understands what it means for everything else. Day 1, you do the obvious thing, you spend. Groceries first, then the dentist appointment you postponed for 2 years, then the tires. You are not being reckless. You are being logical. A dollar held is a dollar destroyed, so holding is the only mistake that exists now. By the afternoon, the shops are full, not busy, full. Everyone in your city received the same notification at the same minute, and everyone ran the same calculation. You notice something at the register. Nobody is comparing prices. Comparing prices is what you do when you might keep the money instead. Nobody is keeping the money. By evening, the shelves have gaps in them, not empty gaps. The kind of gaps that make the next person walking and decide faster than they meant to. Day 4. The price of a mattress in your neighborhood has gone up 19%. Not because mattresses became scarce, because the seller knows something you also know. The buyer cannot walk away and come back next month. The buyer's leverage expired with the buyer's money. This is the first thing the system teaches you. When money cannot wait, the person holding goods sets the price. You pay it. Everyone pays it. Refusing to pay a high price only makes sense if the alternative is keeping the money, and the alternative is watching it disappear. Day 9. You stop buying what you need and start buying what lasts. Canned food, batteries, fuel, soap, tools, anything that does not care what month it is. Your cupboard is not a cupboard anymore, it is a savings account with a door on it. Half your street figures this out in the same week. Rice disappears from the shelves, cooking oil doubles. A neighbor builds a shed. You have not stopped saving. You have just stopped saving in money. And this is where it gets uncomfortable because saving in money was the cheap version. It cost nothing to hold. It took up no room. Saving in objects requires space, and space is the one thing a poor household has never had spare. Day 17. The wealthy solve it faster and they solve it better. They do not buy soap. They buy the warehouse the soap sits in. Land, gold, foreign currency. A building that produces rent every single month, forever, in a currency that resets around it. A man who owns a warehouse loses nothing at midnight on the 31st. A man who owns $4,180 loses everything. The expiry does not touch assets. It only touches money. And the people who most need to hold money are the people who own the fewest assets. You did not create a fair system. You created a filter. Day 29. The city is loud in a way you have never heard. Everybody dumps at once. That is the shape of the month now, a flood on the 1st and a panic on the 30th, over and over, and every business in the country has to survive both. Restaurants are full at 11 at night. Contractors are working weekends. Every business on the street is quoting same-week delivery because nobody, anywhere, is willing to be paid in a currency that has 48 hours left. Day 31, midnight. $940 you failed to spend simply stop existing, not transferred, not taxed, deleted. You watch the number turn to 0 and feel something you have never felt about money before, which is embarrassment. End of month 1. Everything you own that lasts, you bought in the first 9 days. Everything you lost by hesitating. If you are still watching, hold one question in your head. What would you buy in the first 48 hours, and what does that answer say about the way you live right now? Month 3. The economy is not slowing down. That is the strange part. Unemployment falls. Shops that were dying are hiring. Money moves through the town so many times per month that a single dollar does the work of 6. Economists call this velocity. You call it the fact that your cousin finally got a job. And this is not theory, it happened. In 1932, the town of Wörgl in Austria issued its own money that lost value every month unless a stamp was bought and stuck to it. Unemployment fell while the rest of the country sank. Roads were built. Taxes were paid early, which had never happened before because paying early was cheaper than holding. It worked so well that the central bank shut it down within a year. But notice the number. That money decayed at 1% a month. Yours decays at 100%. The difference between a fire and a furnace is not the flame, it is the control. Month 4. People start paying forward. You hand your landlord 6 months of rent in one transfer because rent paid early is money rescued. Your dentist takes a year of appointments up front. Prepayment becomes the closest legal thing to a savings account. Then a hairdresser 3 streets overtakes 11 months of prepayments from 40 customers and closes the shop. Nobody gets the money back. There is nothing to get back. The money expired inside somebody else's account, and it was never yours to begin with the moment you transferred it. After that, people stopped trusting prepayment, which was the last workaround they had. Month 5. The first thing that truly breaks is not shopping, it is lending. A bank cannot lend money that dies before it is repaid. A 30-year mortgage requires a currency that survives 30 years. Yours survives 30 days, so the mortgages stop. Then car loans. Then business credit lines. Then student finance. You wake up in a world where the only person who can buy a house is a person who has an entire house worth of income arriving inside a single month. Homeownership does not become expensive. It becomes structurally impossible for anyone who earns. Month 7. Insurance follows. An insurer takes premiums now and pays claims later. Later is the part that no longer exists. Pension funds go next for the same reason. A retirement account is a promise made in a currency that has agreed to die. Your grandmother, who saved for 40 years, is now the poorest person she has ever been, and she did nothing wrong. She was simply loyal to an instrument that stopped keeping its promise. Month 9. Something replaces the money because something always does. Warehouse receipts, fuel vouchers, gold grams, silver. A tin of coffee, weirdly, becomes a common unit for small trades because everyone agrees on what it is worth, and it does not expire. People begin quoting their salaries in tins. The government banned saving. It did not ban the desire to save. So the desire simply walked out of the currency and into whatever nearby object would hold it. This is the wall. It is the same wall every time. You can control the money. You cannot control what humans do the moment the money stops working. Month 12, take the ledger. Spending up, velocity up. Employment up in the first 6 months, flat after that. Prices up permanently. Lending gone, insurance gone, retirement gone. Long-term construction gone because nobody finances a 2-year project with 30-day money. Marriages get planned in weeks. Businesses stop writing 5-year plans because a 5-year plan is a sentence about money that will not exist. Bridges do not get built. Factories do not get built. Anything that takes longer than a month to pay off no longer gets started because there is no such thing as patient money anymore. And patient money is the only kind that builds anything you would want to live in. The cars still run. The lights still work. It is not a collapse. It is something quieter than a collapse. It is a country that can only think 30 days ahead. Month 18. You notice what happened to you personally. You are healthier. You fixed everything you owned. You saw your friends more because there was no reason to stay home and protect a balance that was going to die anyway. You also cannot leave. You cannot move cities, change careers, walk out of a job you hate, or survive a month without work, because every one of those things is paid for out of a cushion, and cushions are illegal now. The expiry did not just delete your savings, it deleted your options. That is what savings actually were, not a number, a collection of doors you were allowed to open later. Month 24. Here is the part you were not ready for. Someone works out the real number for the old system, the one you used to live in, and reads it out loud. At 3% inflation, a dollar loses roughly half of what it can buy in about 24 years. Your money already expired. It always did. It just expired slowly enough that you never had to watch it happen. The timer was always running. The only thing this world changed was the font size. And that is why the wealthy in the old system never held cash either. They were not smarter than you. They just read the expiry date. Every dollar you have ever earned is a piece of your life converted into a token. And that token has always been leaking value from the second you were handed it. The question was never whether to hold it. Holding was never an option. The question is what you convert it into before it leaks. Objects which mostly decay with it. Or assets which sit outside the timer entirely and keep producing while you sleep. A 30-day expiry is not a new rule. It is the same rule, played at a speed you can finally see. So let me ask you the question this whole thing was really about. If your money died on the 31st, you would spend it in 9 days. You would fix your teeth, buy the tools, take the trip, learn the skills, start the thing. Your money is dying. Slowly, quietly, on a schedule you never agreed to. So what are you waiting for permission to do? Tell me in the comments. First thing you would buy in the first 48 hours. And if this made you look at your account differently, like the video and subscribe, because the next one is about the money you already lost this year without noticing. See you in the next story.